reaction channel. And I know that's not typical of an ASMR video, but there are a lot of really cool things to see on the NASA website. So I think this would be cool to just show you. So let's get started. So today I'm just going to read an article about Saturn from the NASA website. Saturn, 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 Saturn. As of today, Saturn has 146 moons and 4 missions. All about Saturn. Saturn is the second largest planet in the solar system. 9 Earths would almost span Saturn's diameter. Sixth from the Sun, Saturn is 9.5 AU from the Sun. Earth equals 1. So AU means astronomical unit, by the way. Long year. It takes 29 Earth years for Saturn to orbit the Sun. That's pretty crazy because I would be just over 1 year old on Saturn. No surface. This gas giant world may have a small core. Bring a spacesuit. Saturn's atmosphere is mostly hydrogen and helium. King of the moons. Saturn has the most at 146 moons. The nicest rings. 8 rings make for a spectacular system. Distant destination. 4 missions have visited Saturn. 1 has orbited. Not suitable for life. Saturn can't support life as we know it. And cloud hexagon, 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 cloud hexagon. A powerful jet stream shapes the clouds. The cloud hexagon is I guess this is the hexagon storm. You can barely, barely, barely see it, but it's there. And all of the rings. Let's look at Enceladus. Let's try to find Enceladus. There's Enceladus. Enceladus. What is that? What is that little smoke, foggy looking thing? I don't know. This is like one of the moons that's one of the moons that you always hear about when you hear about Saturn, but to be honest, I don't know much about it. Like that one and Titan are the ones that you really hear about the most. Okay. Let's see, where is Titan? I don't know. Maybe it's wrong of me to say, but I mean, it's kind of odd shaped, isn't it? Yeah, it's got like a bump right there, but other than that, it doesn't seem to be very exciting. Okay, let's get back to reading, but before we do that, I think I want to try and show you just how cool this thing is. Okay, here's a satellite. What? It can show you all of the satellites in orbit. Isn't that wild? Isn't that wild? Wait a minute. Okay. I'm getting distracted. I think I see the Pleiades. I think that's what that is. Anyway, we should get back to Saturn, right? Maybe. I think I just found something. Oh, you can watch the things that the satellites do. You can watch their events. Oh, wow. Look at that. That's dope. Okay, the NASA website gets slept on big time. Like, this is so neat. I'm a little bit of a nerd if you can't tell. Okay, now, let's get back to Saturn for real this time. Look at these pictures. Well, okay, I would really like to learn about that color though. Is that a colorized photo or what? What is that? What is that? Shadowing Saturn. I really hate that these pictures don't have a description because I have no idea which moon that is. Like, maybe I was complimenting NASA just a little bit too soon. Don't come for me, NASA. Saturn is also the namesake of Saturday, arguably the best day of the week. I also don't know about that one, because I'm pretty sure that maybe the planet and the day of the week both get their names from the same place, like the, what is it, the Roman god. But I don't know. I'm not going to argue with NASA. Okay, let's see what else they've got. Wait a minute. NASA study finds a life-sparking energy source and molecule at Enceladus. Okay, maybe if you guys like this content, I'll come back and just read articles or something like that. Right now, I'm just trying to find out about Saturn itself. There's got to be more to this, right? which is similar to Earth's 23.5 degree tilt. This means that, like Earth, Saturn experiences seasons. Jinx. Moons. Saturn is home to a vast array of intriguing and unique worlds. From the haze-shrouded surface of Titan to the crater-riddled Phoebe, each of Saturn's moons tells another piece of the story surrounding the Saturn system. As of June 8, 2023, Saturn has 146 moons in its orbit, with another continually awaiting confirmation of their discovery and official naming by the International Astronomical Union. I'm going to read the caption on this picture. Colorful colossuses and changing hues. A giant of a moon appears before a giant of a planet, undergoing seasonal changes in this natural color view of Titan and Saturn from NASA's Cassini spacecraft. Rings. Saturn's rings are thought to be pieces of comets, asteroids, or shattered moons that broke up before they reached the planet, torn apart by Saturn's powerful gravity. They are made of billions of small chunks of ice and rock, coated with other materials such as dust. The ring particles mostly range from tiny, dust-sized icy grains to chunks as big as a house. A few particles are as large as mountains. The rings would look mostly white if you looked at them from the clouds, from the cloud tops of Saturn, and interestingly, each ring orbits at a different speed around the planet. Gonna get sidetracked here for a little bit, but one of my favorite TV shows is a show called Futurama, which it's not for everybody, but it's one of my favorites. And at the end of the second series, Leela, the female main character of the series, is having this weird fever dream, and in it, her and her love interest Fry are ice skating on the rings of Saturn. That's perfect, right? That's perfect. You can't just, somebody came up with that, but think they were the only elements that were produced in the Big Bang. Don't quote me on that. I mean, I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. um, Structure. Like Jupiter, Saturn is made of mostly hydrogen and helium. At Saturn's center is a dense core of metals like iron and nickel, surrounded by rocky material and other compounds solidified by intense pressure and heat. It is enveloped by a liquid metallic hydrogen inside of a layer of liquid hydrogen. I'm sorry, liquid metallic hydrogen. I can't even. What? Um, Similar to, I'm sorry, it is enveloped by liquid metallic hydrogen inside a layer of liquid hydrogen, similar to Jupiter's core, but considerably smaller. It's hard to imagine, but Saturn is the only planet in our solar system with an average density that is less than water. The gas giant planet could float in a bathtub if such a colossal thing existed. I've always heard that. I've always heard that Saturn could float in a bathtub, but it's really difficult for me to imagine just what that means. I guess that it's just mostly, okay, so I keep thinking, well, that's probably because it's mostly like helium, right? Like hydrogen and helium, but I'll have to look that up later. I don't understand why Saturn would be able to float and Jupiter wouldn't. Anyway. Surface. As a gas giant, Saturn doesn't have a true surface. The planet is mostly swirling gases and liquids deeper down. While a spacecraft would have nowhere to land on Saturn, it wouldn't be able to fly through unscathed either. The extreme pressures and temperatures deep inside the planet would crush, melt, and vaporize any spacecraft trying to fly into the planet. Atmosphere. Saturn is blanketed with clouds that appear as faint stripes, jet streams, and storms. The planet is many different shades of yellow, brown, and gray. Winds in the upper atmosphere reach 1,600 feet per second, or 500 meters per second in the equatorial region. In contrast, the strongest hurricane-force winds on Earth top out at about 360 feet per second, or 110 meters per second. And the pressure, the same kind you feel when you dive deep underwater, is so powerful that it squeezes gas into a liquid. The NASA website never fails to make me feel dumb. You know, just when I feel like I've got a good grasp on some of these concepts, they just throw something in so nonchalantly. NASA. What? Okay, I think this is gonna talk about the hexagonal storm. Saturn's North Pole has an interesting atmospheric feature, a six-sided jet stream. This hexagon-shaped pattern was first noticed in images from the Voyager 1 spacecraft and has been more closely observed by the Cassini spacecraft since. Spanning about 20,000 miles or 30,000 kilometers across, the hexagon is a wavy jet stream of 200 mile per hour winds or about 322 kilometers per hour with a massive rotating storm at the center. There is no weather feature like it anywhere else in the solar system. Magnetosphere. Magnetosphere. Saturn's magnetic field is smaller than Jupiter, but still 578 times as powerful as Earth's. Saturn, the rings, and many of the satellites lie totally within Saturn's enormous magnetosphere. The region of space in which the behavior of electrically charged particles is influenced more by Saturn's magnetic field than by solar wind. Aurorae occur when charged particles spiral into a planet's atmosphere along magnetic field lines. On Earth, these charged particles come from solar wind. Cassini showed that at least some of Saturn's aurorae are like Jupiter's and that they are largely unaffected by the solar wind. Instead, these aurorae are caused by a combination of particles ejected from Saturn's moons and Saturn's magnetic field's rapid rotation rate, but these non-solar originating aurorae are not completely understood yet. Oh yeah, and here is, I guess these are the blueprints for the Cassini. I guess I would try and stop to explain this, but I literally have no idea what I'm looking at. Okay, okay. So, I think that might be all I have time for tonight. So I think that might be all I have time for tonight. But I did want to thank you for joining me if you made it this far into the video. Hopefully you did. Hopefully you went to sleep. I have, depending on how well this video does, I may or may not release my next scripted video. It's on Stars, and I'm pretty okay with the research that I did for it, but the audio quality probably isn't very good, so I may want to re-record that. It also took a long time to record and edit, so maybe I don't want to, but yeah, this is all a learning experience, and I appreciate all of you for being so patient with me. Let me know if